All right, the next plague that you find in Exodus chapter 10, now that the locusts are gone, Pharaoh's heart's hard again, is one that comes out of the blue, right? A lot of the plagues he announces, Moses does. But in the 3 sets of 3, so there's 9 plagues total, and then there's the plague of the firstborn, which kind of really is almost in its own category. So when you look at it, this plague it hits like the last in those other sets. So God tells him about 2, and then the third one just hits him. And so here he's just hitting, right? And so this picks up in verse 21. It says, "And the Lord said to Moses, lift your hand towards heaven, and the land of Egypt will be covered with a darkness so thick you can feel it. So Moses lifted his hand to the sky, and a deep darkness covered the entire land of Egypt for 3 days. During all that time, the people could not see each other, and no one moved. But there was light as usual where the people of Israel lived." So he tells him there, lift your hand towards heaven, and this darkness so thick you can feel it will descend. So I've always thought about this. And this is a plague that's fascinating to me because he's sitting, you put yourself in the place of an Egyptian person. He's sitting in his house, she's sitting in her house. And there is a darkness so thick you can feel it. So, I've always thought of it as, you can't see the hand in front of your face. You've been in a dark room at some point that was so dark you literally could see nothing. Like, there's darkness in your house. Like I got up last night, had a little heartburn. I got up and took some heartburn medicine and went back to bed. And, I kind of could see what I was doing, but it was dark. My eyes were kind of adjusted. But this is a total absence of all forms of light. Not only that, it appears that no artificial light worked either. They weren't able to light candles or build fires or anything like that. All sources of light were snuffed out. Now, what was really interesting is that several commentators, when I was doing some studying on this and looking at this, they put forth that there may also have been a spiritual element to this. And they looked at this, said it had a supernatural element to it that could be felt. Light is not only a physical property, it is an aspect of God's character. It says in 1 John 1:5 that God is light and in Him is no darkness at all. So is there also, besides just the physical darkness, was there a spiritual darkness of God removing His presence, that there's a void left there that can be felt? Like, that's an interesting thought. And I don't know if I totally agree with that thought, but I found it interesting to think about God withdrawing His presence as well as withdrawing this physical light, and how the lack of the presence of God in a place, even if you don't worship God, even if you don't know God, can literally be felt. And I thought that was a fascinating thought process in that. But this left the Egyptians just trapped, helpless beyond all measure. He literally at this moment turned the entire country blind. So what a plague to lay upon the people. See you later.